Well, I made the top 20 best cartoon movies, and I did not expect it would have more views. So for those who have seen it, I want to say thank you so much, but now we're about to do one of the worst. Well, unlike last time, there's 10 movies for today. I don't know any other bad cartoon movies film that I have seen. I only seen 10 of them. Well, unless you want me to include the Power Rangers movies, since that I don't give a crap about this franchise, but the Power Rangers are not really cartoons. This series was always been live action, so that doesn't count, unfortunately. So let's just stick with 10, for God's sake. So without wasting any more time, it's time to rank top 10 of my least favorite movie based off cartoons. The live-action Loud House Christmas movie. Yep, I knew you all saw that coming. The Loud House Christmas movie sucks, and that is such a shame because I am a huge fan of the Loud House. It is my favorite Nickelodeon show, right up there with SpongeBob. So when I heard that they are making a live-action Loud House film, well, I just got so hype, but after watching the movie, I was completely disappointed. The pacing was awful. The acting was just so fake that it felt like I am watching the Power Rangers, the show that I am not a big fan of. And this movie didn't even get any of the characters right. The plot of the movie is that Lincoln was a bit disappointed that his family had a change of plan. So for that, he come up with a mischievous plan to sabotage everyone's activities just because he wanted to keep the same family holiday religion. Wait a minute, is that how you say it? Religion? Whatever, man. I don't even care about pronouncing it right now. So yeah, they pretty much made Lincoln the Grinch 2.0 in that movie, and this is highly out of character of him. Yo, I can get that Lincoln can be a bit bratty, but I know he is not that bratty to do something horrible to his own family. And plus, everyone in the movies are idiots. Lincoln and Clyde use some shark attire thing, or whatever that's called, to scare people, and they should know better, but to easily tell it is fake. Well, I know it is just a cartoon and all, but this is the live-action universe. So, if you think about the logic of reality, it makes no sense for these people to be acting like this. And believe it or not, the movie kind of ended with the bad guy getting what he wanted after all, which is Lincoln. Well, even if Lincoln just got exposed and in trouble, and when he tries to apologize, guess what the Loud parents react?
But why, little bro? Why would you mess with your own fam like that? I wanted us all to be together on Christmas. Of the year that I can count on all of us being together. I understand. You do?
I do too, Mother.
And that's freaking it. Wow, Lynn and Rita deserve a award for the worst parents in the world. I mean, me personally, if Lincoln was my kid and he did something like that, I would send him straight to military school to discipline the bad behavior out of him. And on top of that, the Christmas movie had a pretty generic ending. I mean, the heck, they even ended with a Christmas song, and that is such a cliche ending for any Christmas films. Well, overall, I just really hate this movie. And plus, the movie was just so bad that I just made a review talking a lot of trash about it. And after my video was posted, well, Nickelodeon might have seen my review, and they decided to make a freaking live-action Loud House series as a excuse to actually make it good. And the heck, they even come up with the Halloween Loud House movie just to make up for the Christmas film incident. Well, although I respect Nickelodeon for getting things right with the live-action Loud House this time around, but they haven't reached this level to the cartoon version. The Loud House Christmas movie, Naughty or Nice, was a true better version of the live-action movie. Okay, well, the movie is not great either. I think that could have been more fitting for a Luann spin-off movie. Okay, the reason why the live-action Loud House Christmas movie is not any lower on the worst list because there's actually a few stuff that I yiked. I yiked how the characters just yoked straight out of the cartoon. Well, the actors are not good, but the Loud family did at least yoke exactly like the Loud House cartoon. And I really think that they nailed the design here. And the part of the movie where Lincoln plan works and everyone Christmas is ruined, and Lincoln has to see his sisters crying and being miserable and all that stuff, that scene was impactful as hell, and yet that redeemed Lincoln to do something right at the end of the movie. But that does not change the fact that the live-action Loud House was terrible. Well, believe it or not, I have seen other cartoon movies that is worse. The live-action Alvin in the freaking Chipmunks trilogy. Okay, as a kid, I used to enjoy these movies, but when I watched this again, when I got older, I realized that they are actually pretty bad. The story was terrible, the CGI didn't age that well. Well, although they got the Alvin characters right, but they didn't get anything else right. And the crazy part is that I'm not even a big Alvin fan that I'm used to anymore. And that is such a shame how much impact the franchise had on me. Well, I was sick of the musical numbers, and their voice just got annoying, even though I completely understand that they are chipmunks. Well, although I thought the third movie called Shipwrecked was decent, and I did have fun watching these trilogies, but overall, this live-action adaptation doesn't make sense. And I did remember being overwhelmed when I watched the fourth movie from 2015, and that's only when I was a child. Well, I kind of felt bad for putting this franchise down to my worst list, but I don't care anymore. And hopefully, we don't get an Alvin in the Chipmunk 5 in the future. The Powerpuff Girls movie. Alright, I compared this movie to the Marvels and Madam Web, so let's just make this quick. Well, for an origin story movie, it practically had the same plot as Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, well, except it was cut too short for actual character development. This movie has 50% of Cartoon Network's humor, the kind of humor that I am sick and annoyed of. Well, don't get me wrong, the action were cool, like I really enjoyed the action, but the rest of the movie kind of don't make sense. When they get to release, take Processor back home, while the Powerpuff Girls were still fugitive. Like, how short the movie was, there's one problem that is resolved pretty quickly. Well, Mojo Jojo was an alright villain, I give it that. Well, overall, I just watched a forgettable movie, and that was the last time I ever saw the Powerpuff Girls, because I felt like a teenage girl when I watched it, and that felt so gay. And that's exactly why it earns this spot on the worst list, and it also reminded me of why I hate Cartoon Network, and I will explain why I hate this channel when we get to number 1 of the list, because there's another movie that is based off the Cartoon Network show that I'm going to talk about later on, but as for right now, Plankton the movie. Yeah, I know I piss on your Kool-Aid, because most of you guys said that the Plankton movie was good. Well, I don't see that. It was just a simple SpongeBob spin-off that I just watched, and that's it. The plot for this movie is that Plankton and Karen were having relationship issues, which I already seen before a million times, and her villainous motivation just come out stupid by the end. The action is not even that good or inspiring. The voice actor of Plankton, Mr. Warnes, directed this movie, and he can't even get his own character backstory right. Plankton's origin story from the show was pretty great. He used to be old pals with Mr. Krabs before turning on each other, and I thought that backstory was cool. Well, as for the origin story in the Plankton movie, well, I enjoyed it at first, where they just tell the story of how they met Karen and how he went to college, but the story of how he met Mr. Krabs was just completely changed here. He wants to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula because Mr. Krabs is successful, and he wanted to serve Krabby Patty to conquer the world, and that is an even more generic villainous motivation. Yo, I get that SpongeBob is not all about continuity, and this movie might not be canon, but it just felt like that this movie has disrespected for those who has grew up with the older SpongeBob seasons. Well, I just explained everything of why I think this movie suck in my comparison video with Sponge Out of Water, and I even explain why the SpongeBob spin-off doesn't work in my trilogy comparison. Well, like I said, there's a lot of people that thinks this movie is good, so if you guys yiked it, then you can yike what you yiked, but for me, I personally despise the Plankton movie, and this is why it earns this spot on my worst list. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I hate this movie so much without a doubt. Okay, well, don't get me wrong, the action was pretty good in a entertaining standpoint, but when you think about the story, it just doesn't make sense all the way through. They just did a Megatron resurrection story that doesn't fit into the whole overall story. There's a lot of unnecessary, inappropriate jokes thrown into the movie that is in fact PG-13, and they just unnecessary killed off Optimus Prime for no reason, and yet they have the audacity to bring him back to life at the climax of the movie after they just completely wasted the human character Sam, and this is highly predictable and so stupid. Well, I gave the first movie a pass because it makes up with the bad storytelling with the use of special effects that seemed impossible, but the sequel just seemed not to have any redeeming qualities this time around. I talked about this movie with my friend one time, and even he didn't like it. And plus, I watched this movie for the first time back in the year that I despise. I was in a bad mood when I was watching it, and I did not get any better after I finished it. And this is why this Transformers movie deserves to be on this list, hands down. The live-action Garfield movies, Alvin and the Chipmunks was maybe bad, but at least it was entertaining for what I saw as a kid. Like Fat Elber as a example. So yeah, they're pretty alright on paper, but the live-action Garfield was such a mess. The CGI doesn't age that well. This movie has absolute no story or anything interesting. Well, even the actor Bill Murray did not like his own role as Garfield. Like, he totally admit that he regrets playing as this character, even in other movies.
Any regrets?
Garfield, maybe?
Well, the second Garfield movie, Tales of the Two Kitties, well, it was a bit more to do with the plot, but it is not any great. In fact, the CGI was worse than the first movie. So with that being said, the live-action Garfield movies are terrible, with no questions asked. The animated movie is a much better version than the live-action film.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and his channel as well.
Yeah, subscribe to my channel and his channel, because I talk about movies, I do video gameplays. Or let me know what else you want to see me in my video.
Yes.
Alright, peace.
Peace.
Phineas and Ferb, Candace Against the Universe. Yeah, that movie disappointed me. I was expecting it to be as good as 2D Dimension, but it was not. The story was generic and boring. The whole point of the plot is that Candace wanted redemption of busting her brothers, and the rest of the characters were pretty annoying too. Although Phineas and Ferb had some musical number sequence, but in Candace of the Universe, it seemed to have too much musical numbers. Well, although Candace's character development was good, but it doesn't hit the same impact for the character development in the first Phineas and Ferb movie. Well, the climax battle was just so dull and forgettable. And for a Phineas and Ferb movie, Phineas and Ferb are barely in the movie because they just focus straight on Karen way too much. Well, it did came out in 2020, well, aka the COVID years. Well, anyway, if it weren't for the pandemic situation, then maybe this movie would work out a bit fine, because the marketing for the sequel is not very good. Well, overall, Candace Against the Universe was such a piece of crap of a cartoon movie. Well, if you haven't seen this movie, then, I would recommend sticking with the first movie. The live-action Very Odd Parents movies. Okay, you guys saw that coming, because I did mention this movie at my other video. Okay, this movie just practically took place when Timmy was an adult. Okay, the rules of having fairies is that once the kid turned 21, then the fairies will go away and pass down to another kid. And I assume that Timmy just wished that they never go away, and in this case, that's not possible, and there's no reason why they will stay. And plus, the rest of the movie was just dull and boring. Even the second movie doesn't make sense in the climax, when they made him a literal cartoon at the end, and he looks so hideous. Well, the live-action TV show, Fairy Otter, makes more sense than the movie. This show opens up with Timmy Turner now being officially 21. Unlike the movie version of the live-action Timmy Turner, he just passed down his fairies down to his cousins instead of just keeping them like a selfish a-hole. And that's exactly how to make a decent legacy plot when the main character is not the main character anymore. Anyway, that's all I need to say about this garbage. I don't recommend it. Well, in fact, the 2003 animated special was a better Fairy Odd Parents movie. The Sandy Cheeks movie, Saving the Bikini Bottom. I actually never saw this movie before, but I basically did watch the whole movie because it just got leaked online before it even came out, and seeing how the movie is, it looks so bad. People are even saying a lot of bad things about it, so for that, I didn't plan on watching it, and it was a good thing that I never seen it. I was negative towards the Plankton movie, but at least there's some decent factor into this film. But the Sandy movie just seemed worse, and I knew this movie belongs on the worst list.
3, 2, 1.
The Teen Titans Go movie. I never seen this movie before, and I wasn't interested. In fact, I have heard pretty bad reviews about it, and I am not surprised. And even I was preparing to put it on the worst list. But you know what? I am about to watch this movie for the first time, like right now. I mean, we can't judge a book by its cover, right? So without wasting any more time, I am about to watch this movie. So yeah, I will see you guys like in an hour. See ya. Well, I just finished watching the Teen Titans Go movie, and well, just like I expected, I hated it. Well, I gotta admit, the story was decent, but for how execution goes, I do not care. Okay, as a kid, I used to like watching Teen Titans Go, and that's only when I used to like Cartoon Network back then. But then, I watched the original Teen Titans, which is a way better Teen Titans cartoon to watch, by the way. After looking at the difference between these two separate cartoons, I realized that Teen Titans Go was actually a disrespectful version of the original Teen Titans cartoon, and that really explained a lot of why the characters are so annoying. The movie is pretty much the same thing, well, except it has a few good stuff with a expiring message of not being ashamed of yourself and stuff, but it also felt like a ripoff from the 2004 SpongeBob movie, and it seems like a pretty forgettable movie altogether, especially the plot twisting is predictable. Well, not to get a little off topic, and I know that has nothing to do with the movie, but I think it is a good time. I will tell you guys everything of why I hate Cartoon Network. Well, it all started with 2017, the year which I hate. Well, nowadays, Cartoon freaking Network don't have any actual good shows. All they're milking right now is Teen Titans Go, Amazing World of Gumball, which that show also got annoying to me as well, and Adventure Time is not interesting anymore to me. Oh, and I already mentioned that I don't like the Powerpuff Girls anymore. So yeah, I just started taking a break from Cartoon Network and stick with Nickelodeon. But then, my brother and I had this ridiculous argument between which cartoon channel is better. Well, I'm on Nickelodeon team, obviously, while he's in Cartoon Network side. And you guys have no idea how bad the argument are. So yeah, the more that we had this argument, I was starting to appreciate Nickelodeon a lot more and started to dislike Cartoon Network. And plus, what Nickelodeon had and what Cartoon Network don't is that they have a Kids' Choice Award, and that's something that they cannot top. And plus, Nickelodeon cartoons are more iconic in its own way, and I just know it is. Me and my brother even had the argument Cartoon Channel war when we were out of town. Well, I remembered we went to the Cartoon Network LAN at the CNN building, and I did not like my time there at all. There's not much to do and all that stuff, and I believe that my brother convinced our parents to go there on purpose, just to mess with me. But hey, at least there's a SpongeBob 4D ride in Atlanta, and it was great and far superior than the Cartoon Network area. So yeah, my brother always mess with me with some Cartoon Network nonsense and even piss me off by cracking jokes, which I don't find it is funny. Well, long story short, I just stopped watching Cartoon Network at the end of 2017 because all thanks to my brother, I just hated it. And this is why my opinion has not changed after watching the Teen Titans Go movie. This movie just had more comedy than action, and that really brings back my hatred on the Cartoon Network humor. Well, for how bad the Powerpuff Girls movie was, there's at least some better action compared to the Teen Titans Go movie. And on the contrary, it's pretty alright. But the Teen Titans Go movie, it was just joking around the whole time. Well, although I cared about the emotional core and development, but I don't care for the characters. And this movie just opened with a fart joke humor, which I am not into this humor as I was. Well, there's only 2 cool action sequences in the movie. And well, that's not good at all. One was the battle between the Teen Titans and Deathstroke, and the climax battle. Oh, by the way, not even Deathstroke was serious. They joke around with him too. And that's exactly my point about my problem with Cartoon Network. Well, I would go on with the review and talk more about my origin story of why I hate Cartoon Network, but I'm afraid that my video would never end. So let's wrap this up. So yeah, I did not have a good time with the Teen Titans Go movie. Overall, it was generically bad and one of the worst cartoon movies, hands down. Oh, it was better than the show, but it's nowhere near as above average as the Powerpuff Girls movie. Just as you know, I only watched the movie just to complete my top 10 worst cartoon movies list. Well, if there's an alternate timeline where I am not making videos, then I would never bothered to watch the Teen Titans Go movie. Well, in fact, I think I rather rewatched the animated Loud House Christmas movies over the 2 Cartoon Network films. And this is exactly why I don't want the Paramount and Warner Brothers merger happening. Well, I do not care what you guys I say. CN is my least favorite cartoon channel, and it is the worst one, in my opinion, and I am sorry to break it to you. Well, if you're a big Cartoon Network fan, then I won't judge you guys, but just don't be like my brother and argue with me in the comments, and then we will all be good. And that was it for this list. Well, just to be clear, this list is just my opinion, so you can come up with your own rankings of cartoon movies that you personally don't like. I would like to find out your least favorite. Well, until then, my name is Isaiah Belfort, and I will see you guys next time.
What?